Thank you for joining Dad Talk Podcast, where today we have a special guest, author Cyndi Sine.
Book. And I said, I actually have a story too. And she's like, well, tell me a little bit about it. And she said, hold up. You hear people say, keep a journal. It's hard now. Stuff I haven't revisited in over 30 years. But it's been well worth it. And I said, it's so therapeutic. The things that I couldn't even go back to even think about, I confronted, and now I'm healed.
To you, what was your hardest part about writing this book?
I think telling the truth, which no matter what chapter in my book, there's certain things that was so horrible that I never even spoke of. I think it's when I realized that I've always been a people pleaser. And when I come to realization, I know some stuff was going to be hard, but it was time for me to stand up myself. And like you said, if I could help one more person through domestic violence, molestation, whatever it is, kidnap, rape, you can do it, like my book.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining Dad Talk Podcast, where today we have a special guest, author Cyndi Sine. How are you doing today, Cyndi?
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. And tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into writing?
Well, actually it was about 30 years ago. I had an incident and started jotting stuff down and never really thought that I could actually put it into a book because I needed help with editing and publishing. So met a friend, and she started she's getting ready to come into town and started telling me about her book. And I said, I actually have a story too. And she's like, well, tell me a little bit about it. And she said, hold up. let me, is this true? I said, yeah. She said, let me get a hold of somebody. And so, and you contacted me and we started talking like, we're going to do a book. I'm like, okay. So that's how it started.
Yes, indeed. And for all of those who don't know yet, unless you're living under a rock, Sims Books Publishing is one of the premier publishing companies here in the South Atlanta area. And practically throughout the United States, we have clients just about everywhere, from Portugal, Spain, to Australia, to Washington, D.C., California, Niles, Michigan in the house.
Absolutely. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. So just about everywhere. And, our new claim to fame is to be able to bring people in just as you are,
Exactly.
And talk about some things that you have experienced, and then also make it a easy transition.
Absolutely.
Writing a book could be the hardest thing that you'll ever do in life.
Yes.
So we try our best to make it an easy transition, work with you, and make sure that you are the one that say, hey, press that button when I'm ready,
Exactly.
Yep.
Yes.
So 30 years, that's a long time.
That's a long time.
Yep. So did you ever think about it being a book one day? You do a lot of writing in your journal or keeping notes of things?
Due to the COVID, I had written stuff, like I said, years ago. And I always wanted to help people because everybody has a story. Everybody has stuff that happens, and some of the stuff is so bad you don't want to share, but which I found when releasing a lot of the stuff that was so horrible, I've healed myself.
Wow.
And for these people that, even if you cannot publish a book, write it down, it's healing. And through the message I got through my book, and I've reached so many people, and, I guess if you're, you have it jotted down, just keep going. And if you need help, get a hold of a publisher, help with the editing. And like I said, everybody has a story, and it is healing.
Yeah. And you made a perfect point there is that in writing it, that is self-therapy in itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I never, you hear people say, keep a journal. And I always thought, oh, whatever, but once I, was home and I started talking to you and went back through my notes and starting writing everything down, and as speaking to you, it's painful, it's hard, it's stuff I haven't revisited in over 30 years.
right.
But it actually, it's been well worth it. And I said, it's so therapeutic. The things that I couldn't even go back to even think about, I confronted, and now I'm healed. I mean, it is amazing.
Yeah. And that's the most important part.
Yes.
A lot of times when you listen to stories, it can be taxing on the person telling the story and the
Yes.
person that's actually hearing the story if
Yeah.
you don't put it in proper perspective and say, you know what, we won't start it and stop and run away from it, because that has been a lot of our I guess when people say, when you start writing a story, what are your hiccups and what will happen that'll keep you from finishing it? And we do happen to get to that mindset where it's like, hold on, ooh, is a little too much.
You
Kind of
you
back.
know.
I want to
Yeah.
quit. I want to back on up
Yeah.
because I don't know if I can express all of that. But
Yeah.
I would say that your journey, just being able to tell your story, should
Yeah.
be enough that the next person that sees this says, oh man, if she can do it, I can do it. And how
Absolutely.
are the steps? Now, let's be 100% real.
Yeah.
It won't be easy,
No.
because it's things that you have dealt with in your life that you have to overcome. But once you get past it, you can look back and say, man,
Mhm.
but
Absolutely.
therapeutic,
Yeah.
that's a theme right there, because most people think, I have to go to this doctor, I have to go talk to these people, I have to take this medicine in order for it to be therapy. But
Yeah.
you can do it just releasing it yourself.
Yeah.
Now, I know it was something new for you,
Yes.
and let's go back to what was the hardest part about it. And we're not looking at just concentrating on it being hard, because when people hear, oh, it's hard, they're going to run away.
Yeah.
We want to show you that even though it was hard, you overcame that issue. You overcame putting it out. To you, what was your hardest part about writing this book?
I think telling the truth, um, which no matter what chapter in my book, there's certain things that was so horrible that I never even spoke of, that even my closest people never even heard about.
Mm,
And when I started speaking it and started writing it down, it was horrible. And writers, we change what we're doing. Oh, I mean, let me take that back out. No, add this. I mean, like the whole time, because you're thinking this is going to hurt this person's feelings. But you know what? It's damaging and it hurt me, so it needs to be told.
mm,
That's the hardest part, is putting yourself first, because most of the time when we hold these secrets, when we hold stuff back, we're protecting people that we love. But who protected us when it happened?
mm.
So I think that just pushing through it, I'd cry, and then I'd come back, and I'd cry, then I'd come back, and you're like, just, it's okay, and I guess, it's so healing, but you just got to keep pushing through. Even if you start back up,
Mhm.
just keep pushing through it, because you're going to change your mind 100 times. Aren't you? Yes. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And
Yes.
the other thing is, when I speak to writers, and people don't really think of themselves as writers. They say,
Yes.
"Oh, I'm not a writer." No, we all are writers. We can
Yes.
write our own story. But when I
Yeah.
speak to writers, I say, listen, don't be too hard on yourself, but here's the end goal. I want you to see the end goal. So the end goal would be helping someone who may have, who's going through, or who
Yep.
has gone through what you've gone through, find
Yeah.
a way out. because you say
Absolutely.
it's all about self, and you can lock yourself into a mental cage and not escape that mental cage yourself. So let's segue into locking yourself into a mental cage and not being able to find your way out. What was your aha moment
I
when you
think
were
it's
able?
when I realized that I've always been a people pleaser.
Mhm.
And when I come to realization, I know some stuff is going to be hard, but it was time for me to stand up myself. And like you said, if I could help one more person through domestic violence, molestation, whatever it is,
Mhm.
kidnap, rape, you can do it. Like my book, Unbeaten, you can remain unbeaten. I mean, you just have to keep pushing through. I
Mhm.
think just sticking up for myself, but knowing that I can help other people by this, um, that's what just kept pushing me through because I hope to help other people from this.
Wow. So
I guess the first thing you think about when you're starting to put this stuff out that's healing yourself and hopefully other people, the last thing you want to do is hurt your family,
right.
anybody in general.
Mhm.
There's going to be stuff that, like I said, my family didn't even know half the stuff that went on.
Mhm.
They're having a hard time. Some of my family read the book and some haven't.
Mhm.
Some bad things, I shouldn't say bad, but some things that needed to come up anyways. Um, and certain people in my life, it's brought stuff to a head to where they actually can have closure now too. It's hard at first when the truth comes out in these books. Your family is the one you're most worried about because they're
Mhm.
going to hurt, they're going to be sad, they're going to feel like it was my fault, but we all have had stuff happen,
Right.
and nobody ever means to hurt the people you love. You don't ever mean
True.
to.
True. And then also having children, not wanting them to go through that,
Yes,
and the truth, like you said, it'll hurt, but it'll set you free. But then also
absolutely.
it will educate. Your story will
Absolutely.
educate the next person and say, hey, these are the signs. And if you continue to go down this road, then that can only get worse.
Yeah,
And at some
absolutely.
point in your life, you have to kind of speak up, release it, talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. You never want your children, you always, they say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink,
Hmm.
and this stuff that happened to me, I'm in hopes that whether it be my children, cousins, niece and nephews, just anybody in general in the United States, there's things that are going to happen. And the best thing to do is, to let the truth out. And
Right.
sometimes, like you said, people, like I said, everybody has a story,
Yeah.
and some of the things that you don't want to tell people, um but when it comes to head, and some people, like I said, your closest family are the ones, when these books come out, they're the
Mhm.
ones that hurt, because stuff is like, wow, should she really put that there? Yeah, because it had to be. This needs to stop.
Yeah,
It stops right here.
definitely.
So, yeah.
Now, the trends and things that follow in your family and what you just said about it needs to stop. We're dealing with what people would call generational curses.
Yes,
And we don't really realize that we can make them go on, or we have the power to put a stop to them, you
yes,
know.
that's what I
So
did.
back it on up and let the people know what's the name of your book and where they can actually purchase your book.
Okay, will you get that for me, honey? Well, I have my book right over here.
Oh,
Mariana's going to get it for me.
there
So,
we go.
my book is called Unbeaten, by CJ Holiday. That is my pen name,
Okay.
and you can
Oh, it's
purchase it.
beautiful. Put it back up.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
And you can purchase it on Amazon,
Hmm.
and it's Stories Untold, Unbeaten by CJ Holiday.
Put it back up.
And
That is nice.
thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I was so proud. You don't think that you actually, and I believe everything happens for a reason.
Hmm.
If God brings it to you, he'll see you through it. So I
Yes,
thought,
indeed.
man, I'm doing this, and I'm like, I'm so scared because I need help spelling. I was like, when I got to you, you're like, why haven't you ever published this? I said, because I need help with it,
Right.
And here you come. La la, so
And
here we go.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, is because a lot of times people see the mountain,
Yep.
they see the climb, and they say, oh, I don't even know how I'm going to get there because
Yes.
I don't have X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
So our duty is to show them, don't worry about it,
Yes.
because most people say, hey, I can't write, so I won't even begin to write.
Yeah.
So I tell them, no problem. You can speak, right? Yeah, you can speak.
That's what you said to me, right? Yeah.
So if
Yep.
you can speak, we have ways to record the story. How easy was it in your experience to have this book written with Sims Books Publishing?
Well, anybody that went to school with me or knows me, education, school was very hard for me.
Mhm.
Like I said, I had written stuff down, but the spelling, the punctuations and stuff, I've always struggled with it. So you said, no problem.
Mhm.
Just voice record it and send it to me.
Yep.
And I was like, what? That he's like, yeah. And that'll, put it down in words. So that, and of course, throughout the months that we went through this stuff, but it was actually, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
How necessary it is in life, in anything that you go through, for closure. Did you ever think that in the beginning of writing the book that it would just sit on your mind and just be incomplete? Or did you think that by the end, there would be some type of resolution?
To be honest with you, I had no idea when we started writing it and putting it down, how much closure at the end this would bring me. I had no idea. I had dealt with this in my mind for so many years that when it finally did come out and it was out for everybody to read and to find out about, it's kind of, and you don't do it for people to say, I'm so sorry that you went through all this stuff. That's not my purpose for writing the book. It's healing for me. Things happen. You can't make people be a certain way. They're going to do things, they're going to say things, and I'm much stronger from it now.
Right.
You got to learn to say no. I can't believe the closure that I got from it. I never would have dreamed that this would have done
Like
this.
you're talking. So author Cyndi Sine. How's that sound? How does that ring to you when you hear author Cyndi
Wonderful.
Sine?
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So we say own that,
Yes.
own it. So whenever they address you, similar to how doctors get upset. They'll say, what? No, it's doctor.
All right.
So,
right.
like Miss Sine, hold on. It's author Cyndi Sine. Okay?
Yes.
Get it right.
Yeah. I am really proud of myself. That's one thing that I just want people to understand, if you have these ideas and you don't think you can write a book, you can. It takes a long time, but I'm really proud of myself because some of the stuff that I talked about in my book, people don't mention.
Yeah.
And the people that read it is like, called me and it's like, I have a story to tell. It's like, you can always tell. They're like, thank you. Thank you for bringing this out. This needs to stop. It needs to be talked about. It's molestation. It's any age. It's any, it's boys, girls. It's happened to several millions of people, and it needs to stop. It's not okay.
And our goal is for everyone to have a full life. No matter who you are, you deserve to have a full life, and you deserve to take those bad things that have happened in your life and move them out of your way,
And that's what this does, absolutely.
Move them out of your way. Yep.
Absolutely.
So I'm proud of you,
Thank you.
because you've come a long way.
I have come a long way. Yes. Yeah. I have come a long way, thanks to you.
Yep, you're welcome. And
Yeah.
thank you for allowing us to help you and for you to join our family, you know. So we are very, very appreciative of that. Now, author Cyndi Sine, how
Yes.
can someone get a hold of you?
They can use the email,
Okay.
and it's CYNDI
Mhm.
SINE 9 at AOL.com.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd be happy. I'm gonna, like I said, hopefully, we're working on the website to come
Mhm.
up, and gonna do a Q&A hopefully, so people can ask me questions, and I can answer them.
Okay. You got anything else for us?
Oh, God is good
All the time.
all the time. That's right. And all the time, God is good.
Uh-huh. Yes,
Amen.
indeed.